What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another movie review. Today we are watching Star Wars Episode 6 Return of the Jedi. And this one, coming off of Empire Strikes Back, it's still a good film and there's so much that this movie does. But let's just be real, it ain't Empire Strikes Back. Granted, Han and the Carbonite, now he's in Carbonite, we have to get him out of Carbonite, right? So they have to do all this stuff. And at the very beginning, we see Jabba's palace and Leia has this Boosh head thing. I have it up here in Lego form. But I'll tell you what, the first time I watched it, I didn't see that reveal of her coming at all. But it has also been parodied by one of my favorite things to watch when I was younger. Epic Rap Battles of History did Darth Vader versus Hitler, and Hitler's in Carbonite, so it's like Darth Vader versus Hitler 2. And Hitler comes out of the Carbonite and he's going, "Who are you?" Takes off the mask and it's Darth Vader, so he takes off the mask and it's another mask under it. Like, she always cracked me up. "I came back to bust your ass." Like, it's one of the funniest videos. Go look it up if you haven't seen Epic Rap Battles of History. Look up that specific one, Darth Vader versus Hitler. Amazing, amazing job that those gentlemen did. But I also watched Solo, a Star Wars story recently, and this mask that Mando is our boy the Mandalorian, Lando Calrissian from the previous two movies, is wearing the same mask that Tobias Beckett wears. So it must have been on the Millennium Falcon, and Lando found it. But I love that, this movie obviously came out many years before. This is 1983, 2018 Solo, a Star Wars story came out. So I love that, like, the way that Star Wars does things that make no difference at all. But just put this same mask on Woody Harrelson's character in a completely different setting, but set before, and now it's world building, now it's storytelling, now it's, it's everything you want. Finding out that the Millennium Falcon was at one time Lando's, and now it's Han's because of a card game of Sabacc, and Lando used to cheat and Han figured that out, right? Like, little things like that are great. Seeing their friendship goes way back, not just these movies. But Leia unfortunately gets caught by Jabba trying to free Han Solo, and ends up in the world famous outfit of hers, because Carrie Fisher, just, let's be real, gorgeous as hell, but highly unnecessary. Did they really have to do this to her? But they did. So she has to sit like a prize in front of this big fat bastard Jabba the Hutt and Bib Fortuna, and you always have a C-3PO being annoying. Why not? But then of course Luke comes in, and Luke, our guy, he's now a full Jedi, and, I wish they showed something in between of him, like, really learning and being a Jedi. Because the last time we saw him, "Luke, I'm your father," got his arm chopped off, like, we haven't really seen much of him since then, right? So, I don't know. I think we could use a filler story in between there, but not so much. But he's a full Jedi now. He shows up to try and negotiate for Han, and yeah, he gets tossed into a Rancor pit. So now we see this first time we see a Rancor pit, and the Rancor, and he's, big and ferocious. For 83, this still looks pretty freaking good. But I do love the updated version in Book of Boba Fett. He just looks menacing. He's got the bull ring in the nose. He's got a saddle. The Book of Boba Fett made me really love Rancors, like Return of the Jedi. I was interested, but he also kind of kills him with a door. And it's just so interesting that the trainer of the Rancor walks up and starts crying. You're like, what? Like, they don't really explain it in the movie. They just kind of show it, and it's like, that's interesting. Why is this guy so close to this giant beast that picks up people and eats them? But this movie, from, things like Luke puts a bone in the thing's mouth so he can't get eaten. Things like that come up in Jedi Survivor, the Cal Kestis video game, and you have to force pull a bone and then push it into its mouth as it's about to eat you, and it slows it down a little bit. I like that little world building, especially that they take it years later and they make it something playable in a video game. Like, those Star Wars video games make me absolutely love the Star Wars universe so much more. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I think we need a game where we're just playing as bounty hunters and we're going around collecting bounties, kind of like Mando Season 1, like that pilot. I just think it would be amazing. But, you know, then also from that Rancor, we get to this great shot where Boba Fett is riding the damn Rancor. Gotta love that. Like, just imagine an army of Rancor, just like Night Sisters or Mandalorians riding them. Like, whew, that's some badass stuff. But then they free Han. They go to Endor. You get the Ewoks. You know, I like the Ewoks. They're cute, but they're, I don't know. The going through the trees is pretty entertaining stuff, but I don't know if it's necessarily, you know, my favorite stuff from Star Wars. It's, you know, it's an entertaining movie. It's good stuff. Then Luke goes to the Death Star 2, and he friggin' fights Darth Vader again in front of the Emperor, and it's his destiny to cut him down. And Ian McDiarmid as the friggin' Emperor. I love this shot where it's just like the two lightsabers clash, and it's right across like the Emperor's neck, and you see him smiling. Like, this is what he wants. He wants him to kill him, and then he'll be more powerful somehow, some way. I don't know. But clearly it doesn't happen, and then Darth Vader gets unmasked. I've always thought this shot was just so gross. I'm like, this is Anakin? You know, like, I don't know. I think I would much rather see Hayden Christensen, but maybe that's just because I grew up with the prequels instead of growing up with the original trilogy. But I don't know. It still seems like a pretty good end for Darth Vader. He saves his son. You know, he wants to look at him in his own eyes. You know, and I don't know. The original actor, I guess, I just don't like as much. You know, like, I just like Hayden, which brings me to the things where, like, George Lucas updates. You know, and a lot of people hate that, you know, this old Anakin Force Ghost. Instead, they get this Hayden Christensen Force Ghost in there. And, you know, the first one seems very much so paired better. But this one with Hayden Christensen, all of a sudden, he's just kind of standing there looking off. It seems like they kind of just went, hey, Hayden, come step here for a second. Yep. Okay, great stuff. And he was kind of, he probably had no idea what it was going to be for, but they threw it into Revenge of the Sith, or they threw it into Return of the Jedi, and here we are years later, now he's in the trilogy. You know, I wish there was just an option that we could watch everything, like the original trilogy, as it was originally presented, you know what I mean? And I know you could buy DVDs and stuff like that, but as somebody that doesn't have those original DVDs, you know, now I have to go out and get those just to see this original version. Like, A New Hope, I would rather see the original version. And, you know, other than that, Empire Strikes Back, I think, is great. And I'm glad that they made Ian McDiarmid the Emperor instead of the Emperor that they had, because that change is very good, actually. But, I don't know. Overall, I gave this movie 4 out of 5 stars. It does a lot. It builds universe, right? I just hate how they did my boy Boba Fett. All of a sudden, Boba Fett, where? And, you know, Han just bumps into him when he's blind, and all of a sudden, Boba Fett's in the Sarlacc pit. Luckily, I was one of the few that liked Boba Fett, the show. And Book of Boba Fett to me wasn't bad, you know, seeing him crawl out of the Sarlacc pit, seeing him with the Tuskens, seeing him get his armor back in the Mandalorian show, you know, like seeing him become, you know, the whatever of Mos Eisley, the mayor or whatever, he's like the new Jabba's throne. Like, that shit to me is good shit. Like, I enjoyed that show. A lot of people hated it. I would love to know what you hate about that show. Obviously, it's not great. It's not the best show that they've done, but I enjoyed it. The theme song was great. Bo, 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 bo. You know, like, some of the things were really great. What was bad was those people on the scooters. The dude, like, instead of just shooting, he has to do like a 360 spin before he does it. I'm like, listen, I get it, you're trying to be cool, but the way they shot it was not cool at all. I don't know. But, I don't know, I like that show regardless. You know, maybe it's just because I like Boba Fett. I like that he goes back to the Sarlacc pit and, like, puts the ship right above it and then, like, slowly lowers down. You're like, how is this possible? Like, is there gravity not a thing? Like, whatever. He's like right above it, and then it grabs it, and he gets to drop one of those ion bombs, which we all love. The boom, you know, that's just great stuff there. But overall, 4 out of 5 stars, 8 out of 10. You know, it's good shit, and it paves the way for a lot of stuff. Ironically, though, you know, Luke saving the day, and then telling Leia that they're brother and sister, like, I don't know, 40 years, this movie 40 years old now, so to me, I guess if I grew up with the original trilogy, it would be more favorable in my mind, but I didn't. I grew up in a different era, so comment below, what do you think of this movie? I would love to hear from you guys. If you have any other movie recommendations, hit me down in the comment section below, but we'll be moving on to, I gotta do Rogue One, and then I'm gonna do Rey's trilogy, which, you know, I also was a more of a grown-up by the time those ones came out, and I really enjoyed those ones too. You know, I don't love those ones. The shit with Palpatine, fucking Rey Palpatine, like, come on, man. I would rather her be Rey the scumbag from fucking Sand Planet. You know, like, you didn't have to include his fucking ass again. That's why I love where Ahsoka's going right now. Like, give me Admiral Thrawn. Give me a different villain besides fucking Palpatine. Like, ugh, God, I'm over him. You know, like, I'm over Palpy. You know, give me some new villains. Give me some more badass villains. I think this blue guy with red eyes is much more frightening than an old man in a cloak. You know, like, but I get it. It's the Emperor. You know, I'm waiting to see the Emperor in Dune Part 2, and I think that will be better. I think it's Christopher Walken, much better. Hey, mister, hey, where you going? I'm over here. Comment below, how do you like my Christopher Walken impersonation? But leave your ranking for this movie down in the description, or down in the comment section below. Look at my Letterboxd, link is in the description below if you want to see my full movie reviews and all the movies I've been watching lately. And till next time, I'll see you when I see you guys. Peace.